Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Flash Review. Today, we will be talking about the 6 best budget bushcraft knives under $50 in 2022. The knives I personally selected and tested for this budget category have plenty to offer. It would be a mistake to think that you can't head out into the wilderness with one of the knives on this list simply because the most expensive materials and processes weren't used. I love a solid high-end knife as much as anyone, but these knives will get the job done and do it well. But before that, hit that subscribe button if you are new to the channel and seeing me for the first time. Also, turn on that notification bell to keep up with my upcoming videos. With that said, let's jump straight into the video. Number 6. Morakniv Companion. It's light in the hand and easy to maneuver. Much of this is due to the slender blade profile, a common feature in many of the knives by Morakniv. This design makes it easy to get into tight places and do detailed work when carving or drilling holes. Also, of the 3 Moras on this list, the Companion's blade thickness is the thinnest at just 2 mm. This allows it to slice through material much easier than knives with a thicker blade stock. In fact, while a Scandi grind isn't usually my favorite grind for cleaning fish, I've used the Mora Companion on multiple occasions to clean trout, and it works quite well. The thin blade comes with the compromise of being less rigid and durable, but it's still plenty strong to handle the majority of bushcraft tasks. For the price, this knife is really hard to beat. It even contends well against much higher priced knives. There is much to love about some of the high-end knives out there, but if you put this Mora Companion to work, you'll find it quickly becomes the standard by which you judge all your other knives, and at less than $15, that's saying something. Number 5. Mora Bushcraft Black. The Bushcraft Black shares the same basic blade profile as the Companion models but takes the 3.2 mm thick blade stock of the Companion HD, adds just a little more length, for a total of 4.3 inches, and leaves a 90-degree edge on the spine of the knife. Of the 3 Moras on this list, this is the only blade with a 90-degree edge on the spine. Personally, I really like this feature on a knife. It's great for striking a ferrocerium rod, but that isn't its only use. I've used knife spines like this to scrape and gather tinder into a fine dust, flesh out plant material for making cordage, clean the scales off fish, and, when I lived in the desert, scrape away the spines and glochids from cactus pads prior to steaming. Part of this amazing grip is due to the handle material, but some of it is due to the handle's shape. The shape of the Bushcraft Black's handle differs from that of the Companion models. It shares about the same length as that of the Companion HD, but it features a slightly more pronounced finger guard and slight separation between the index finger and the other 3 fingers. The handle shape isn't so extreme that it prevents me from varying my grip or choking up on the blade, but it does help to lock the hand into place when using the knife in the most common grip, forward/hammer grip. Number 4. Cold Steel Fin Hawk. The Cold Steel Fin Hawk is another knife that fits well on this list of top 8 budget bushcraft knives. It shares a lot of common features with the Mora lineup, including a low price, but the Fin Hawk is a different animal in a lot of ways. Cold Steel went with a German stainless steel known as 4116. This isn't a high-end steel, which helps to keep the cost down, but it takes a good edge and holds it reasonably well. With all the talk about super steels and other high-dollar types of steel, it's easy to get the impression that anything less is garbage. This simply isn't true. For most bushcraft needs, a simple steel is not only sufficient, but often preferred. The shape of the Fin Hawk's blade has a more pronounced belly near the tip when compared to knives like those from Morakniv. This is due to the fact that there is no drop from spine to tip. Instead, the entire spine is flat like traditional Puico-style knives. This naturally leaves a little more curve near the tip of the blade. This is helpful when skinning and dressing game. I also found it useful in general food prep tasks and when making long, sweeping cuts in wood. Number 3. Cold Steel SRK. The SRK from Cold Steel is very different from most of the knives on this list. This is actually more of a survival knife than a bushcraft knife, but it made the list anyway. Here's why. First, the price of the SK5 version of this knife gives you a lot of knife for an impressively low cost, so it definitely qualifies for the budget category. As far as bushcraft goes, This knife is bigger and heavier than all the other knives on this list. Still, everyone approaches bushcraft and wilderness living a little differently, and if you're the type that rarely reaches for the axe or saw, then you might appreciate a larger knife like this. 6 inches of 5mm thick blade is a lot of blade. If you don't need that kind of reach, I suggest going with a smaller knife. That being said, the SRK is well balanced and isn't so heavy that it becomes impossible to maneuver during smaller, more precision work. The saber grind fits this knife well and allows it to function as a strong and versatile knife. With working with wood, the material doesn't fall away as easily as it does with a scanty grind, but this knife will take a solid beating for days. The steel is protected from corrosion with the help of Cold Steel's Tough X finish, and so far, that finish is holding up well. As I use this knife more and more, I found that while it doesn't really do any one thing very well, it can do just about anything. That's where this knife really shines, as an all-purpose tool. Again, if you like to do just about everything with your primary bushcraft knife, and you rarely touch the axe, hatchet, or saw, then this knife might work well for you. Number 2. Condor Terrasaur. The Condor Terrasaur is beautifully simple, in my opinion. In appearance, it might seem a little on the plain side, but in use, which is what these knives are for, the design is everything it needs to be. Looking at the blade profile, there isn't much belly on the cutting edge, but that leaves the knife with a good amount of straight edge to work with. This is great for working with wood. The spine of the knife also drops toward the tip at a point just above center line. I've used plenty of knives that drop the tip all the way to center line, like a Kephart style blade, and I really like that design as well, but by keeping the tip just a little higher like this, I find that the knife still performs well with drilling tasks without losing as much of its effectiveness when batoning. This design also lets the user make good use of the blade's tip during smaller tasks or when getting into hard-to-reach places. The spine of the knife also includes a 90-degree edge for scraping tasks and for striking ferro rods. Another feature that adds value to this knife in my opinion is the steel itself. Aside from being full tang, which I always prefer, this knife is made with 1095 high carbon steel. In this budget category, this is an excellent steel. Like all the steel used for the knives in this list, 1095 won't hold an edge forever, but it's soft enough to resist chipping and easy to sharpen, even in the field. Number 1. Condor Bushlore. Condor Knife and Tools Bushlore is priced at the higher end of this budget category, but it has a lot to offer, and has easily become many bushcrafters' go-to knife. This knife also features more traditional materials like a wooden handle and a leather sheath, so if those things are important to you, this knife might be worth looking at. The blade is made from 1075 high carbon steel, and its full tang design is secured to the handle with brass rivets. The blade spine drops into a gradual curve and meets the edge right as the center line. Not only does this design make drilling tasks more efficient, but I find that it gives me a high degree of awareness about where the tip is at during precision work or low lighting situations. The cutting edge of the Bushlore appears to be straight until it nears the tip, but if you look closely, you'll see that it actually maintains at least some degree of curvature throughout the entire blade. It doesn't curve so much as to have the pronounced belly of a hunting skinner, but it curves just enough to make long sweeping cuts more smooth and effective. The sheath is leather and features a belt loop on the back. It's a simple fold-over design, but it's made with good thick leather that will hold up to rugged use. Thanks for watching the video this far. With that we have to the end of today's video. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and also share this video with your friends. Bye.